Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of the Team Galactic podcast, creating not just a better world for you, but also your Pokemon. We're your hosts.
I'm Andrew.
And I'm Justin. And today, we're going to be talking about the full, latest set of the Pokemon TCG, Silver Tempest. Now, this is a set that came out, I want to say last week, right Andrew?
Yes, on the 12th, I believe, or the 11th. It was Thursday or Friday. I know I was able to purchase some packs early. I pulled the $300 Lugia, which is not $300 now. Glad I sold it. But my brain's going, we should have bought all of them. I'm like, no, we're not going to be that person.
Yeah, it was last Friday. It was November the 11th. So, this is going to be our full overview, talking about the set, the implications on the meta, what it could entail, and so on and so forth. And just as a heads up, the Pokemon trading card game Live is now in global beta, and what that means is that you are in the US, you can finally play the beta. Now, Pokemon has made themselves aware that not made themselves aware, but has made it aware that they know about the feedback, the critiques, the models, how bad they look, the UI, just how everything's not coming to play and fruition on what they want to do. So, there's an article, I believe, on the Pokemon website that they did an update for it. If you want to check that out, you can read on it. But essentially, they just said, hey, we're fixing it, we understand this is a beta, we appreciate your feedback and concern, and we're going to get right into it.
Okay. Yeah, I played a bit of Live. It's a little weird. I did not transfer my account.
Neither did I.
But yeah, there's just a couple things I'm still trying to figure out, but what's nice is they give you some pretty decent already made decks, so you can opt right in. You're not playing with like some weird theme deck like TCGO did.
Yeah, and I liked that there was like a casual and ranked mode kind of thing, and it was kind of a little bit ugly UI in my opinion compared to TCGO, but just I think it's ugly to me because I'm just not used to it yet.
Yeah. I was looking at everything. I'm like, why does this look like it doesn't look smooth out? It looked a little blurry on my computer. I don't know if that's just me. I even changed like the visual settings to max, and it still looked kind of blurry. So I don't know. It's probably because it's in beta.
I think that might be you because it looked fine on my end.
Oh.
I have a 4K monitor.
Same.
At 144 curved. 144 hertz curved, so
yeah, I have too, and it just looked blurry.
Interesting. It just might be your settings, maybe, if you're messing around with the settings. I didn't like how the VMAX symbol on the right there, it was just kind of weird. It was like, it didn't really tell you that they were using it. It didn't show like GX or VMAX, Vstar kind of thing.
Yeah, it was kind of small. Like I saw someone use the attack, and I'm like, "Where's the counter?" And I had to go look all over for it. So
yeah, it may be on that right side. It may be on that right side, but it was just something that they just didn't think ahead on. I mean, I like that it's concise in there. I also just didn't like how more hands-on it is compared to TCGO. You have to do dragging. Some of the scrolling features are kind of weird and didn't really work right. It just doesn't feel right to me.
Yeah, I was like, alright, I'm gonna pick this card, and it was like, no, you have to do this instead. I'm like, oh, okay, I guess I'll drag the card out. And it made me misplay because I didn't understand what I was supposed to be doing.
Right. It's just something better implementation of it would be a really good, big help with it. And I can understand they're probably working on Mac because the way the scrolling stuff works is kind of similar to how Mac does it. And it just feels awful. We are not here to talk about TCGL. We are here to talk about the TCG set, Silver Tempest. Okay.
Yep.
So it looks like the set has a total of 246 cards, which is one less than Lost Origin. It has 195 cards in the main set, 21 secret rares, and 30 trainer gallery cards. The trainer gallery cards are kind of like older cards that just have like special trainers on with the Pokemon. It looks really nice, really cool. Secret rares include like gold cards, rainbow rares, stuff like that.
Yeah, I like the trainer gallery, and I hope that's something that they keep going for quite a while, because the cards are nice. And it's like something I've always wanted was the older cards. They have these really nice art, that they used to do, and they stopped doing it. And it's like, why did you stop it? We like that art, and it kind of brought it back. It's like a full art now.
Let's get into this full set list, alright? So the first card we have is Venonat, a 60 HP basic grass Pokemon, 1 retreat cost, weak to fire, and it has 1 attack. For a grass, it's 20 damage, it's tackle. Nothing big here, it's just like a small little boop, like you said. And then, next card we have is Venomoth, 90 HP grass type, evolved from Venonat. For a grass energy, miracle power, does 30 damage. Flip a coin. If heads, choose a special condition. Your opponent's active Pokemon is now affected by that special condition. I feel this would be a lot better if it did more damage.
Yeah, because, like, me personally, I'd pick Paralyzed so they can't, like, flip a coin to not be burned or poisoned. But the damage is kind of eh. I mean, there are things to boost damage, like items and other Pokemon cards, but 30, eh.
And then in Expanded, there's Lurantis. That's Sun and Moon promo Lurantis, which I think it's a 20 damage boost or 30. One or the other. So there is ways to get it up, but I just wish that was more damage.
See here, I found the Lurantis. Attacks of your grass Pokemon and fire do 20 more damage to your opponent's active. So it could do up to 50 and Expanded.
And then you add something like the Band, which is like 10, 20 extra damage, stuff like that. And then you have Weakness. So you're hitting for some okay numbers, and also it's the flip a coin that kind of get me. It's like if heads, choose special condition. If that flip a coin wasn't there, it'd be fine.
There's cards in Expanded to reflip, but
yeah, that Bikini.
Not in Standard, I don't think. Standard has.
Not that I'm aware. Glimwood Tangle, I think. I think Glimwood Tangle allows you to flip a coin again. Too gimmick, in my opinion.
Yeah, I usually try to stay away from flip a coin kind of situations.
Unless it's like really like game breaking stuff that I kind of want to have to do.
Yeah, I mean I've done that in Expanded where it's like flip a coin until you get tails, and it's like heads, 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 and I'm just smiling. I'm like, you're getting knocked out, bud.
It's that confirmation bias. It's like, oh man, this is so good because it happened once, but you're not counting all the other times that you had to flip heads and you just got tails, right? So
yeah,
it's a give or take. It's basically a lottery. So then the second attack that Venomoth has for a grass and a colorless, Disgust for 70 damage. Its weakness is fire, no resistance, and 0 retreat cost. Interesting.
Yeah.
The 0 retreat cost is, like we've already stated, remove the coin flip, give it more damage, and you have yourselves a good Pokemon card that could actually really see good, proper use in both Standard and Expanded. Okay. The next card we have is Spinarak. It's a grass for 60 HP. First and only attack is for a grass and a colorless Bug Bite. It does 30 damage. Nothing to write home about, just a very weak bug type Pokemon. Bug Pokemon. Weakness to fire and retreat cost of 1. And then you have Ariados, a stage 1 that evolves from Spinarak at 90 HP. Also a grass type, not a psychic type, which they like to kind of do with poison types. They kind of like to either keep them at grass type or make them a psychic type poisons because there's no actual poison type card in the game. Ariados have an ability called String of Shade. As long as this Pokemon is in play, the attacks of your opponent's V-Stars cost 1 energy more. You can't apply more than 1 String of Shade ability at a time. So I think this could be really good as a slowdown card.
What's interesting is the English version is called Hidden Threads.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but the thought of the V-Star costing 1 more, that's a cool idea, but at the same time I feel that could hurt you in a way, because some Pokemon do more for, like, more energy attached to them. So this might hurt your play. I like the idea, I'm not fully sure about it.
Got you. The next Pokemon we have is Sunkern, 40 HP for 2 colorless energy, does Seed Bomb for 20, its weakness is fire for ×2, and then retreat cost is 1. Just a basic Sunkern. Sunkern sucks anyway.
A lot of basics aren't even gonna be that good anyway. It's just like, here's your 20 to 40 damage.
Yep. And then we have the evolved form of it is Sunflora, which 90 HP for double colorless. It's called Bright Beam, 10+. You may discard up to 3 energy cards from your hand. This attack does 70 more damage for each card discarded this way. I think this could be really good.
230 damage right there.
And then you apply something like weakness against powerful Pokemon that I think Palkia is weak to it, right? And
No, it's weak to electric.
What about Kyurem?
Kyurem is weak to metal.
So It could do some massive damage. Could be really good. With some modifiers, I think it would be really good.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, the next card we have, which is our first V and V Star of the set, it's Superior V for 210 HP. Its first attack is called Noble Light. It heals 30 from each of your Pokemon, both yours and your opponent. That's very I don't like that it heals from your opponent.
I mean, that would hurt my Zoroark deck, but not too much.
Cool, you do less damage. I just don't like that. And then for a Grass and the double colorless, Solar Beam for 120. Standard Solar Beam, does a bunch of damage, that's it. Its weakness to fire and no resistance and 1 retreat cost. The next card, which is Superior V Star, which evolves from Superior V at 270 HP. For a Grass and double colorless, Regal Blender for 190. You may move any energy from your Pokemon to your other Pokemon in any way you like. I think that's really good. There's a lot of really good damage.
I would use that if, hey, my Superior only has like 10, 20 HP left. I'm going to do 190, get the energy off of this just so it's not going into my discard.
And I think it sets up the V power, the V Star power. For a Grass Starwinder, it does 60 times. This attack does 60 damage for each energy attached to this Pokemon. And then I switch this Pokemon with one of my bench Pokemon. And you can't use more than 1 V Star power again. That's a really good, like, oh, I'm gonna load this puppy up and swing.
There's an energy in this set that... There's a couple energies in here, we'll talk about them later, but this would, like, bypass them.
A word?
Yeah.
Actually, let's go to them. Let's go talk about them real quick.
The ones I wrote down is Regen and V-Guard energy.
Yeah, so the first of the 2 special energy in this set is called Regenerative Energy. It's a special energy. As long as this power is attached to a Pokemon, it provides colorless energy. When you play a Pokemon from your hand to evolve the Pokemon B this card is attached to, heal 100 damage from that Pokemon. That's actually really good. I like that.
Yeah, it is. That's why I wrote it down. I'm like, I might want to throw 1 or 2 in these in my deck just to try it out.
It said whenever you play a Pokemon from your hand to evolve the Pokemon V this card's attached to. So it's just like V Max and V Star, like really just kind of like let me heal and already kind of win card. That could actually be really good. I would have to see that in play. I might have to stick that in Goodra.
I feel that'd be really good in your Goodra deck.
Yes, sir. That actually might be good. Really good in Goodra just because I'm healing the damage off. The next of the 2 special energy is V-Guard Energy. And then it provides colorless energy as long as it's attached to a Pokemon. And then it says the Pokemon this card is attached to takes 30 less damage from attacks from your opponent's Pokemon V after applying weakness and resistance. This effect can't be applied more than once at a time to the same Pokemon. So you're basically taking 30 less after weakness and resistance instead of before, which is really, really important. What needed to happen is before weakness and resistance. That's what makes it like really good.
I would pair this with Radiant Gardevoir, where your Pokemon take 20 less damage from your opponent's V.
Got you.
So that'd be 50 less, and I know there's like 1 or 2 other cards that, hey, you take even more less from your opponent's V, which is why I was saying that Superior V-Star breaks through these.
Yeah, for sure. And then looking through the list, there's kind of like a couple that I kind of want to highlight. It's Hisui and Lilligant for 120 HP, evolves from Petillo. For no energy, I search my deck for up to 2 grass energies and attach them to my bench Pokemon any way I like. That's really good. You just grab 2 grass energy and attach them to a Pokemon in any way you like. I like that.
That's gonna be really, really well and expanded with how many like heavy grass Pokemon there are. Like your Venusaur decks, I would probably put 1 or 2 in there.
Oh yeah,
there's a couple other grass that I'm like, hey, throw this in here. Even the V-Star we just talked about, throw that in there with it.
So I would probably throw that in the Venusaur VMAX and Standard and just see how it goes. Because we are losing Rillaboom in rotation because of deregulation marks, so I kind of want to see how that does. Since it's not a Stage 2 and it's actually a Stage 1, I'm actually really interested in how that can do. Because this is not limited to allowing for Vs or anything like that. It's any bench Pokemon.
This could be for any deck too, like if it's colorless, throw this in there. If it's a fire and a colorless, you could throw this in there. There's so many things this could be good in.
Yeah, grab 2 grass energy and attach them to any Pokemon you like. This could be actually okay in Giratina.
Mm-hmm.
Because Giratina has a Psychic and a Grass attack. So you just attach Grass to that puppy and go. And then the next card I kind of like was a little bit interested in was a Mungus for 90 HP, evolved from Fungus. Ability Surprise Spores. During your opponent's turn, if this Pokemon is discarded from your hand by an effective attack or an ability from your opponent's Pokemon, or by the effect of your opponent's item's reporter, discard your opponent's entire hand.
Uh-huh.
That's insane, bro.
That is.
That's...
I want to see this card played just because of that ability.
I don't like that it says during your opponent's turn, if discarded by an effective attack or an ability from your opponent's Pokemon, or by the effect of an item or supporter card. I don't kind of like that, but if it was like during either player's turn, and I could just discard it, just mill my opponent's entire hand, that would be great.
I feel if it was during your turn, it would get banned really quick, because it's like, oh, I need to discard this? Cool. Ultra Ball. Professor's Research. Things like that.
And then we're going to move on to the next V Pokemon, is Chestnut V, for 230 HP. The ability, Needle Line. If your active Chestnut V is damaged by an attack from your opponent's Pokemon, even if it's knocked out, put 3 damage counters on the active Pokemon. It's okay. Not good. Not bad.
Yeah.
But it's just not good. And then for a double Grass and a Colorless touchdown for 130, I heal 30 from this Pokemon. It's pretty okay.
Yeah. It's nothing too special.
I'm actually kind of really excited about Radiant Serena, which is the next card I kind of want to talk about. For 140 HP, it's basic, by the way. The ability Elegant Heal. Once during your turn, you may heal 20 damage from each of your Pokemon. That's really good. That could be really good when it paired with certain things that, like, just let me heal, heal, heal.
Oh, yeah. There's so many things. It's like, hey, this can heal your card. Play it with this.
For sure. Be a really good time. And then moving on through the Fire Pokemon. Rapidash, 100 HP. Heat Boost. Once during your turn, you may discard a Fire Energy from your hand in order to use this ability. During this turn, your Fire Pokemon's attacks do 30 more damage to your opponent's active before applying weakness and resistance. This is just the same as Volcanion EX, just on a stage 1, and it's not a 2-prizer.
This is Volcanion EX, and it's only a 1-prizer versus a 2-prizer.
And then moving on, we move on to Reshiram V, 220 HP. For its first attack, Sparkling Wing. For 1 Fire Energy, search your deck for up to 2 basic energy and attach them to one of your Pokemon, then shuffle your deck. Pretty good attack. Not bad. Can probably see play whenever Arceus rotates out, maybe, if we don't get anything better, which we probably will. And then for a double fire and a colorless, White Blaze for 200, flip a coin. If tails during the next turn, this Pokemon can't attack. Okay, that's fine. I just retreat it to my bench.
Air Balloon.
Yeah, like...
Escape Rope.
It doesn't matter, like, you just pick her up, put her down, it's fine. So there's really no drawback to using that. And then the next card we're going to look at is Delphox. A stage 2, 150 HP for a colorless, Flare Parade, 60 times. This attack does 60 damage for each arena card in your discard. Pretty okay, pretty standard. We've seen this before in multiple cards where it's like, oh, you have to have this many. This is essentially Charizard with Leon, so you're doing 240 with this thing. And then for a double colorless, Energy Crush 50 times. This attack does 50 damage for each energy attached to all of your opponent's Pokemon. This could be really good. If we see a really influx of high attaching energy Pokemon, which we might see with Lugia, and we can go ahead and skip all the way down to Lugia V and Vstar, so we can talk about that since we have Lugia mentioned.
Yeah, did you see what Serena does?
Let's look at Lugia first, and then we can hop over to Serena, and then we can hop back. So we got Lugia V, HP 220, a colorless Pokemon. Its first attack is Read the Wind for a colorless. I discard cards from my hand. If I do, I draw 3 cards. Pretty okay. So you're +2ing, basically, on cards. And then for 4 energy, it does Arrow Dive for 130, and I may discard a Stadium in play. Pretty standard. Lugia usually does some energy aiming on some discard stadium shenanigans.
Yeah, and it almost always needs 4 energy for the big numbers.
And then we talk about the Lugia V Star, which evolved from Lugia V. 280 HP colorless Pokemon. The attack that we don't really have to talk about is Tempest Dive for 4 colorless energy, 220. You may discard a stadium method play. You may think like, okay, 4 colorless energy, you're not really going to get that. But now looking at that V Star power, its ability, Summoning Star. During your turn, you may put 2 colorless Pokemon that don't have a rule box from your discard onto your bench. Pokemon V, GX, EX, stuff like that have a rule box, and you can't use more than 1 V-Star power a game. So this is really good for the simple reason of what they put in this set to complement that.
Is it Archeops?
Yep.
Yeah.
Archeops, the stage 2 Pokemon. 150 HP, but we're going to really talk about this ability for a second. Because its ability is what helps Lugia really set up things. Its Primal Turbo ability. Once during your turn, you may search your deck for up to 2 special energy and attach them on one of your Pokemon, then shuffle your deck. And this doesn't say that you can't play more than 1 per turn.
That's the insane part about this.
So,
I would also pair this with Blissey V.
So what you do is, you play Lugia, you use the V-Star power, the ability, you put Archeops, 2 Archeops on the field, you use Primal Turbo, you charge up Lugia, you're swinging 220 in 1 turn.
Yeah, it's a pretty strong combo.
And then we can move on to talking about Serena, because you mentioned Serena. Okay, so choose 1. Discard up to 3 cards from your hand. You must discard at least 1 card. If you do, draw cards until you have 5. Not bad.
Yeah.
And then the other mode is switch one of your opponent's bench V with their active. Pretty good, pretty good.
Trying to think, what is that card? It reminds me of. It has Giovanni on it.
Giovanni's Scheme?
Yeah, Giovanni's Scheme. Draw cards to have 5 in your hand, or during this turn your Pokemon's attack do 20 more. It's very similar in a way, because you're drawing the cards.
Pretty similar. I'm looking at the Talonflame here. It's not really good for fire and 50 damage to one of your opponent's Pokemon, and you don't apply weakness and resistance for bench for a fire energy 80 plus. If your opponent's active Pokemon is already damage counted on it, just does 80 more.
I mean, it's not too bad for 1 energy, but like there's better cards that can be played.
And then we can look at Torracat, 2 fire energy for 40. During your next turn, if this Pokemon has full HP and we be knocked out by damage, it is not knocked out and the remaining HP is 10. So pretty much this is a, hey, let me save myself from getting knocked out card, if it has full HP.
That's kind of like Focus Sash.
It is a Focus Sash.
Which is nice.
And then we talk about Incineroar, the evolution of it. For 1 fire, choose an attack from one of this Pokemon's previous stage evolutions and use this attack. Not bad, not bad at all.
Yeah, because if you look at the Litten, it's this attack does 20 damage for each damage counter on it. So it reminds me of Incineroar GX, where it does more damage for counters on it.
Yeah, that might be really not bad. And then we move into one of the first of its kind. Alolan Vulpix V and Alolan Vulpix V Star. This is one of the first of its kind, because normally basic Pokemon like this, like baby Pokemon, like non-fully evolved, don't get a V-Star.
No, they don't get anything really special.
And this is kind of like the poster child Pokemon of the set. So you have Alolan Vulpix V Star and Lugia as 2 poster childs of this set. Now, we've already talked about Lugia. Let's talk about Alolan Vulpix V first. 190 HP. For no energy, it does 10 plus. If your opponent's active is a Pokemon in the V, this does 50 more damage. 60 damage
for no energy.
And then for a water and a double colorless, it does Frost Smash for 110. Pretty substandard attack. And then we get to the Alolan Vulpix V Star. 240 HP. For a water and a double colorless, Snow Mirage for 160 damage. This attacks damage isn't affected by any effects on your opponent's active Pokemon. During your opponent's next turn, prevent all damage done to this Pokemon by attacks from Pokemon that have an ability.
There's a lot of Pokemon that have abilities that people play, so this will slow those down just a little bit.
This kind of reminds me of Glaceon VMAX.
Oh yeah, but prevent all damage done to this Pokemon by attacks from your opponent's VMAX, except Glaceon VMAX. That was great when it was out, and that was the newest set. But the moment these V-Stars came out, I could not play this deck anymore, so I kind of just put it on the shelf.
And then we talk about its V-Star power. For no energy, 70 times. This attack does 70 damage for each of your opponent's Pokemon V in play. This damage isn't affected by weakness or resistance. So you're doing 70 times for each Pokemon V that your opponent has in play. This could be really something. To take one-hit knockouts on a lot of things.
Oh yeah, because a lot of people play at least 2.
So you're doing at least 140 for no energy. And then we can move on to Amistar V. Pokemon that's finally getting a V card. Don't know why. I would have preferred Kabutops, in my personal opinion.
They're probably picking cards that haven't had anything in a while just to keep the fans happy.
Yeah, but then they could have just chosen Kabutops. I'm a big Kabutops guy.
I know.
So, it's 190 HP. And its first attack is for colorless. It's called Primal Guidance. Search your deck for up to 2 Pokemon that evolve from an item that has Fossil in its name, and put it onto your bench, which is really good. This eliminates a lot of the need to play cards that have fossils, that kind of like weird that you search the bottom 4 cards of your deck or something for a fossil Pokemon. It's just not good. This allows them to be played.
Skips the need of having to put the fossil card down, then evolving them, right?
Yeah. So it basically skips out a turn and helps cheat cards out into the field. And then we can talk about its second attack for a water and a double colorless Tentacle Lock for 110. It's a defending Pokemon and an evolution Pokemon. It can't attack during your opponent's next turn. That could be really good. Could is a strong, asterisk.
There's ways around it.
Yeah, and it also says defending Pokemon.
Yeah, so if I take it out and it's not an evolution Pokemon, I can attack.
Yeah, pretty much. And then we can talk about Wailord. The tank himself got another card. 200 HP. And then it says, for the ability, Jumbo-sized, this Pokemon takes 30 less damage from attacks. After applying weakness and resistance. So, it just takes 30 less damage. Pretty fun card.
Yeah.
For 3 water and a colorless, Special Wave 120. If this Pokemon has any special energy attached to it, it's not 120 more damage. But who's doing that?
Ooh.
And relatively, honestly, who's doing this unless you're playing Arceus in Expanded?
So put that with the V-Guard, you take 30. Radiant Gardevoir, 20 less. And since it has a special energy, it's doing 240. I feel this might be one of those, weird decks I would make, just to make one. But the 3 water, that's... I would say maybe Blanche? Draw 2 cards. If you drew any cards in this way, flip a coin. If heads, attach a water energy card from your discard to one of your bench. Which isn't bad, but it's eh.
Yeah, it's pretty just meh. And moving on, we can talk about Raichu.
Yeah, Raichu is... Raichu's been a decent card in the past few sets here.
For 120 HP, and evolved from Pikachu. Its first attack, what we're going to talk about. For a colorless, ambushing strike for 40 plus. If your opponent has used their V-Star power during the game, this attack does 100 more damage. So you're doing 140 right out the gate.
For 1 energy, there's no real downsides to that. This could be a fun combo to have with any deck, because it's a colorless, so this could be honestly thrown as a 1 or 2 of in any deck. What we got next, my guy?
Reggie V, 200 HP. Its first attack is for a lightning energy, 30 damage. Switch this Pokemon with one of your bench Pokemon. It's just a 30 and you switch.
My Zoroark deck does that for a colorless, so it's interesting.
It's the same thing. And then its second attack is for a lightning and double colorless lightning wall for 100. During your opponent's next turn, this Pokemon takes 100 less damage from attacks after applying weakness and resistance.
Ooh.
Not bad.
Put that with a number of cards that we were talking about earlier.
Definitely be a good combo. And then you look at Regieleki VMAX, 310 HP, ability, Transistor. And your basic lightning Pokemon's attacks do 30 more damage to your opponent's active before applying weakness and resistance. This could really do something, because you can stack it. This could be a deck all on its own. And then looking at its attack, for a lightning and double colorless, max thunder and lightning for 220. During your next turn, this Pokemon can't attack. That's really good.
Yeah, that's not a bad trade. I mean, obviously, like we talked earlier, switch, escape rope. There's ways to get it out.
And then it has no retreat cost. So you're retreating for free.
Never mind, we don't need escape rope for that. Just put it on your bench.
Yeah, exactly. And the next card we're going to be talking about is Radiant Alakazam. And then its ability, Painful Spoons. Once during your turn, you may move up to 2 damage counters from one of your opponent's Pokemon to another.
That could be useful in spread, especially like when I was playing Glaceon VMAX. It's like I just need 20 more and I didn't have another Inteleon to go after him.
And this is the basic Pokemon, so you can just throw it in there and make it work. And then its attack, Psychic and a colorless, it's called Mind Reader for 20 times. This attack does 20 damage for each card in your opponent's hand. It's okay.
I would put that with Gengar Mimikyu GX and expand it, just because that GX makes them draw 10. They can't really do anything the next turn, so then you can put that up there if you want.
Yeah, and you could power it up with Malamar, stuff like that, and just 200 damage, taking them out. And then we can talk about the next Pokemon, Jinx. 100 HP. Its ability is Selfish Lips. If this Pokemon is knocked out by damage from an opponent's Pokemon V, your opponent can't take any prize cards from it.
Yeah, that's an interesting card, especially the attack paired with it.
And then its attack is for a double colorless. It's called Psychic Assault. For 10 plus, this attack does 10 more damage for each damage counter on your opponent's active. That's a crazy card. That could be really good.
Yeah.
That could be really good.
Basic.
And then the next card that like kind of interesting is Mismagius. 90 HP, stage 1, ability, Spiteful Magic. If this Pokemon has full HP and is knocked out by damage from an opponent's attack, put 8 damage counters on the attacking Pokemon. So you're at full HP, you get knocked out, they're taking 80.
I'm thinking expanded. You put I can't remember the name of the card. I'll put it up whenever I edit it. But put that on there. Spell Tag, or even Rock Guard. They're taking a lot of damage counters. I think there's other cards you can combo with this too. This could be really good and expanded. It's a stage 1.
You have its attack, Eerie Voice for Psychic Energy. Put 2 damage counters on each of your opponent's Pokemon. Pretty okay. Not bad.
Yeah.
What you could do actually is Zoroark. Put this in Hasui and Zoroark. That's kind of like an out.
I was thinking this is also similar to Tapu Koko, the baby one from Sun and Moon, where it was flying flip 20 across the board.
You could just put this in like at the one of in Zoroark.
Zoroark V?
Yeah.
I could look into that, because obviously new cards, new set, I want to like modify my deck a little bit.
And then we can talk about Unknown V.
I love it.
Is 180 HP. For 1 Psychic, it does 30. Your opponent's active is now confused. And then for a triple colorless, if you use the attack with only 1 prize card remaining, you win the game.
That's a very situational card.
Yes, but it's very easy to take prize cards.
It is, and I'm already thinking expanded with this, with like Greedy Dice, the Prism, Jirachi, maybe a couple other cards.
Yeah, you can just take additional prize cards easily. And then Unknown V Star for 250. Its first attack is Tri-Power for 1 Psychic, does 70 times. Flip 3 coins, this does 70 damage for each head. And then looking at its V Star power for 3 colorless energy, Star Cipher. Until this Pokemon leaves play, it gains an ability that has the effect. The weakness of each of your opponent's Pokemon in play is now Psychic. The amount of weakness doesn't change. Curlia, which has basically Trade, its ability is Refinement. I discard a card from my hand, and I draw 2 cards. Pretty okay.
And there's 2 cards that have that too.
Yep. Gardevoir. It has the ability Refinement as well. Same thing. I pitch a card from my hand, draw 2.
God, I'm gonna hate myself because I have to edit all these cards. In Zoroark GX, it's a trade ability.
Yeah, or Tinksino.
I'm glad they're bringing back these abilities and moves that the fans like. There's some we look at and we're like, we're never getting that again. They're like, here you go. And it's like, oh, thanks.
And then we move on to Mawile V, 200 HP for a Psychic Energy, does 30. Flip a coin if heads, discard an energy attached from your opponent's active. Not bad.
Yeah, that's not bad at all.
It's basically a Crushing Hammer on an attack. And then for a triple colorless, 100 damage, discard a random card from your opponent's hand.
Ooh, a random card from your hand?
From your opponent's hand, yeah.
A Mungus?
No. A random card from your opponent's hand.
No, I'm saying if someone sees, like, if Mawile is going to be played, I would definitely throw 1 or 2 Amoonguss in your hand, or into your deck, just in case, and hope they pick that one.
Yeah, well we can look at the V-Star to see kind of like the implications on it, what's going to be played. So we have Mawile V-Star, right? 260 HP. Its only attack is For a double colorless, 90 plus. If this Pokemon is moved from the bench to the active, it does 90 more damage. So this is basically first impression with Golisopod GX, and then you have the V-Star Power, which it has an ability, Star Rondo. During your turn, if this Pokemon is on your bench, you may switch it with your active. If you do, switch one of your Pokemon's bench with their active. So this is basically Guzma on a card. On an ability.
Guzma.
Which we've
Back.
always seen Guzma on cards that are like really good. There was Lycanroc GX that had it. There's always been cards that have those kind of abilities.
I wish they'd bring Guzma back. I mean, they gave us Escape Rope, but it's not the same.
We have Reuniqueless.
Oh yeah, this thing. I'm confused by its ability. Like, why would you... I don't know, maybe you can explain it to me. Why would you want this ability?
So, 120 HP, Persistent Cells. If this Pokemon is knocked out by damage from an attack from your opponent's Pokemon, put it into your hand instead of the discard pile. You discard all its cards attack. So let's say you have a rare candy or something like that, and you just want to put this back in your hand.
Yeah.
Or there was a way to put Reuniqueless onto the field again.
I mean, that makes sense, but I'm looking at the card, and it's like... It's decent. I don't think I would really play it, though.
For a double colorless, it does 60. Choose 2 to your opponent's bench Pokemon and put 3 damage counters on each of them. Pretty okay. And then we can look at Meowstic next. 90 HP. Its ability is Inviting Ears. When you play this Pokemon from your hand to evolve one of your Pokemon during your turn, you may search your deck for up to 2 supporter cards, reveal them, and put them in your hand, then shuffle your deck. That's a really good ability.
It is.
Because it's like, okay, I have no supporter in hand, or I just need this certain supporter to clean out the game, and close it out, and you just play Meowstic, evolve, and you got it. Like, there are so many times that, like, you just need, like, a Lysander or Boss's Order, something to close this game out.
Yeah, it's so many times. It's like, I need something. Gotta hope that that top deck gets it to you.
And then, we're looking at Dragapult. 150 HP, Stage 2, for Psychic Energy. Attack called Dragon Launcher. Discard a number of bench 3P up to the number of your opponent's Pokemon in play. Then, for each 3P you discarded in this way, choose one of your opponent's Pokemon and do 100 damage to it. You can't use the same Pokemon more than once. This attack isn't affected by weakness or resistance. So you just discard like 4 3P, do 100 damage across the board, it's spread.
Yeah, I would honestly pair this with Rescue Carrier, which is put 2 Pokemon each with 90 HP or less from your discard pile into your hand. So you can do that, immediately put them back, Dragapult again.
And then we're looking at Hasui and Arcanine V. 230 HP. Ability Irresistible Force. As often as you like during your turn, you may move a fire energy from one of your other Pokemon to this Pokemon. That's really good.
Yeah.
You have a Pokemon with a bunch of fighting energy, and you just load them up. Load them up. Move them around, load them up. Could be really good.
You have to for the attack.
Its attack for 4 colorless, 90 plus. This attack does 30 more damage for each fighting energy attached to this Pokemon. That could be really good.
I know, I'm scared of that card. Zoroark's weak to fighting.
And then we can talk about like kind of like this ridiculous card next. Donphan. Like, ridiculously bad. Okay, so for 1 fighting energy, it does 110, right? Seems pretty okay. But if this Pokemon evolved during this turn, this attack does nothing. Why?
So you have to wait 3 turns to actually use it.
No, you just have to wait on the next turn.
You put the basic down, then you evolve it, which is turn 2, and then you have to wait to turn 3 to actually swing. I mean, if there's like a way that's like, hey, put this stage 1 from your bench or wherever onto your bench and bypass it, then that could be good, but...
Keeping on that topic of just why would you ever do this to a card, Claydol. Its ability, Mystery Charge. You can use this ability if you only if you have no supporter cards in your discard. Once during your turn, you may attach a fighting energy card from your discard to one of your Pokemon. Why would you add that if you have no supporters in your discard? Why?
Like, no. Why?
Why can't you just do what Malamar, Frosmoth, please? And you can only use it if you have no supporter in your discard, bro.
That's gonna be hard to not play supporters to play this card. Like, I agree with you. Why?
Yeah, there's like no real reason to even like put this card in your deck.
I'm thinking expanded. I think the card that puts all supporters back into your deck is banned, right?
Well, there was Lysander's trump card, but Lysander's trump card is all cards except Lysander's trump card. That still stays in your discard. That's still banned.
They always make awful cards. I feel they have to.
To balance out the good ones, yeah, like I get it, but it just doesn't seem proper.
Can we look at Anorith? I just noticed that. I didn't even look at that card before.
Anorith evolves from Unidentified Fossil. This is one of the fossil Pokemon that you've evolved. 90 HP for a double colorless for 30 plus. You may discard an Unidentified Fossil card from your hand. If you do, this card does 120 more damage. It's okay, not the best. Could be better. And then we look at Armaldo, a situational card, 150 HP, evolved from Anorith, Stage 2. For a colorless energy Reaping Claw, if your opponent's active at 100 HP or less, it is knocked out.
That's very situational, considering most people are playing Vs that have 200 plus HP.
And then we can look at Stonjourner.
I love that art. That's awesome.
For sure, it's a cute art. It's like sleeping and stuff like that. It's really cute. 130 HP. Its second attack is what we're going to be looking at. For a fighting and double colorless Mystery Press for 60 buff. If you have no supporters in your discard, this does 130. Why?
So they're trying to pair that with Claydol, but like, why?
It doesn't work.
190 for 3. I can think of a number of cards that can do more than 190, or even 190 equal for less energy.
Yeah, exactly. Like, why would you play this card? Yeah, it's a basic, but I don't get it. And then we can move on to Ursa Luna V. 230 HP. Hard Coat. This Pokemon takes 30 less damage from attacks after applying weakness or resistance, so a hard, like, -1, -30 damage. And then its attack, for 3 fighting energy, 220 minus. And what that means is, this attack does 10 less damage for each damage counter on this Pokemon. As this Pokemon takes more damage, it does less damage.
Those kind of cards are weird. I've seen people play them, and it's like, the moment I put any damage counters on there, you're not knocking me out, so what's the point?
And then we can move on to Crobat, which is very situational.
I'm so glad we're talking about Crobat. I looked at this, I'm like, expanded, ADP.
Crobat, 130 HP. Its second attack is what we're going to be looking at for a triple colorless. This attack does 30 damage to one of your opponent's Pokemon. You don't apply weakness or resistance for bench Pokemon, that's still the same. But, if one of your opponent's Pokemon is knocked out by damage from this attack, I take 2 more prize cards.
Now, can this number be boosted with, like, bands or abilities, things like that?
To the active, yes, and stuff like that. Like, that damage, it says 30 damage to one of your opponent's Pokemon. Like, and it says, okay, do 30 more damage to, like, a V or something like that. Yes, that damage would go up.
I saw this card, I'm like, expanded with Arceus, Dalkia, Palkia GX, where you do 30 more damage, and if you knock something out, you take an additional prize card.
This really situational.
This could be kind of gross.
This could be, it just, because it's a stage 2.
Yeah.
And it's a heavy energy requirement. I don't see it being played that often.
No, it could be a fun deck to try, but I don't think it would be played.
And then we can look at Skuntank for 210 HP. Its first attack is Pursuit Blast for a double colorless. This attack does 30 damage to one of your opponent's bench. If that Pokemon retreated from the active slot during your opponent's last turn, that damage is 120 instead.
That could be a way to get some knockouts.
And then for a dark and a double colorless, the 90, your opponent's active is now confused and poisoned.
It's not bad, but eh.
Yeah, it's just meh. Then we look at another card, Toxicroak. Why would you print that as a second attack, right? So it's 120 HP. Its second attack is Dark and a colorless for 120. During your opponent's next turn, this Pokemon takes 50 more damage from attacks. Why?
I don't know. Maybe to balance that it's doing 120 for a colorless and a dark. But
no,
again, why?
Yeah, there are so much that does. There are so many cards that do so much more for so much less.
It's not like it has another attack where it's like, hey, this does more damage for counters on it, which would make sense. But of course, if it had that, it'd probably be knocked out. This is a weird card.
Yeah. And then we can look at like kind of like a weird, kind of funky little card. Crocodile next.
That is a long ability name.
Yeah.
And a long ability description.
160 HP, ability Bully of the Sands. When you play this Pokemon from your hand to evolve one of your Pokemon during your turn, you may discard a random card from your opponent's hand. Okay, already pretty good. You're discarding a random card from your opponent's hand. That's already pretty
Yeah.
good. But the second part of the ability, if this Pokemon is your active and is knocked out by damage from an opponent's attack, you may discard a random card from your opponent's hand. So you're basically discarding 2 cards. Can be pretty okay. Its attack, like Andrew was saying, was for a dark and a double colorless 160. It's double-edged. This Pokemon also takes 30 damage to itself.
In a way, it's saying, knock me out! Please, knock me out!
Knock me out while I'm in the active, per se.
Yeah, in the active. Make sure, if you do play that, make sure it's in the active. That's the key to that card's second part of the ability.
And then we can move on to Metagross. 170 HP, Stage 2. Ability, Emergency Entry. Once during your turn, if you drew this Pokemon from your deck at the beginning of your turn, and your bench isn't full, before you put it into your hand, you may put it onto your bench. If you do, draw 3.
Makes me think, was it Talonflame? Where you can put it on your bench?
If it was in your starting hand, yep.
Yeah, Gale Wings, that's what it is.
I think that Pokemon was a colorless 130, I want to say, and then it evolved into a Talonflame Break, which is a fire type, which is really good at that point in the meta, because we had the Sigilai running around.
I remember seeing a little bit of Talonflame Break. It's an interesting card.
It was really good anti-meta at the time. And then its attack is Metal and a colorless for 100 damage. During your next turn, this Pokemon's Meteor Mash attack does 100 more damage before applying weakness resistance. So you're doing 200 right off the gate after the second turn if you keep using this attack.
Yeah, if it doesn't get knocked out, because 170 HP, that's kind of low. But if you can get it off, 200 for 2 color, or 1 metal, 1 colorless, that's pretty good.
And we can talk about Radiant Jirachi next. 90 HP, ability, Entrusted Wishes. If this Pokemon is in your active and is knocked out by damage from an attack from your opponent's Pokemon, search your deck for up to 3 cards and put them into your hand. Then shuffle your deck. That's insane.
That reminds me of Sylveon GX, because you can get set up your next turn. I mean, if your opponent knocks you out when you have that in your active, that could be the end game for them.
Right.
Because you could be like, hey, I'm grabbing Boss's Order and an energy I need, and I win.
And then it's attack for a double colorless, Astral Misfortune. Flip 2 coins. If both of them are heads, your opponent's active is now knocked out. That's a situational attack. It's more for the ability than anything. So now that we're about like over halfway through the cards, I want to say. Yeah, we're over halfway through the cards at this point. What are you thinking about the set so far and everything that we looked at?
It's got some pretty decent cards. There's a couple I might throw in the Zoroark deck to try. And obviously I have a bunch of ideas for Expanded, so I'm trying not to play Expanded because I'm waiting for 2 more cards and I can actually play my Zoroark deck in person. So sometimes I get my decks confused. I don't know why. I hate it, but it happens. So I'm trying to focus only on Standard.
The next card that I kind of want to talk about, that was almost really good, right? Noivern.
Noivern, yeah.
A double colorless. Knock out one of your opponent's Radiant Pokemon. If it didn't say Radiant, it'd be super good.
It would, but I feel it would. I don't know. I feel there'd have to be like some situation about it.
They'd probably just put it in like a flip a coin or something like that.
Yeah, because the Radiant Pokemon, there's a lot. You can only have one of those in the deck, and if no one's playing like Ordinary Rod or ways to get it back out, it might hurt them quite a bit. But it is a stage 1.
Okay, here we are. Alright, next card I want to talk about, Reggie Drago V.
My dog stepped on a bee.
For 220 HP, it's a Dragon type. Its first attack for a colorless, discard the top 3 cards of your deck. If any of those cards are energy cards, attach them to this Pokemon. Mill yourself, if any of them are energy, attach them to this Pokemon.
What is that card called? It has to do with End's Resolve, I think. I play it in... Yeah, it is called End's Resolve. So I played that with Garchomp Tina Tag Team. It's discard the top 6 cards of your deck. If any of those are basic energy, attach them to one of your bench Dragon types.
Yeah, that could be really okay with it. I think that's rotated. So an Expanded deck could be pretty okay with it.
It's kind of nice.
And then for two grass and a fire, Dragon Laser for 130. This attack also does 30 damage to one of your opponent's bench Pokemon. 130 and you're doing an additional 30 to a bench. Not bad.
It's not bad.
The really good thing about Dragon-type Pokemon, since they brought back the Dragons, they have no weakness or no resistance. So whatever damage comes at them, since they took out fairies out of the game, they're just taking that. And now we can look at Reggie Drago V Star. 280 HP Dragon type. For a grass, and a fire, Apex Dragon. You can choose an attack from a dragon Pokemon in your discard and use it as this attack, Duraludon VMAX. The thing is, you're pairing this up with like Hasui and Lilligant, right? For like no energy, and you're loading this sucker up. Fire energy, double grass from the Hasui and Lilligant, and you're good to go and start swinging.
Yeah, that's a good combo right there.
You have the V-Star power with the ability Legacy Star. Once during your turn, you may discard the top 7 cards of your deck. Then, put up to 2 cards from your discard into your hand.
That could be a game changer right there.
Could be. Implications, I'm not really seeing well. And then the next card, since we've already talked about Lugia V and V-Star, we're going to talk about Ho-Oh V. This is basically the Rebirth Ho-Oh from Ho-Oh EX.
EX, right?
Yeah, yep. For 230 HP, our colorless Pokemon. Ability Reviving Flame. Once during your turn, if this Pokemon is in your discard pile, you may put it onto your bench. If you do, attach up to 4 basic energy from your discard to this Pokemon. If you use this ability, your turn ends. Okay,
Turn 1.
that's fine. That's
Turn
fine.
1.
Yeah, for sure. Turn 1, you discard a bunch, you're good. And it has its attack Rainbow Burn for 100 damage, 100 plus, for 4 colorless energy. This attack does 30 damage for each type of basic energy attached to this Pokemon. So you have lightning, grass, fire, and water attached to this thing, and you start swinging.
220 before any modifiers.
That's turn 2.
This can be pretty gross, both standard and expanded.
And then the next card that we can talk about that's kind of okay-ish is Hasui and Braviary. 120 HP. For no energy, it does put 3 damage counters on each of your opponent's Pokemon that has any damage counter on it. So spread, you just kind of spread more.
That's gonna hurt me.
It's funny. It's a funny Pokemon. You could tech that card in for the mirror, and then we can look at Brandon. A weird supporter card. You can use this card only when it's the last card in your hand. Draw a card for each bench Pokemon, both yours and your opponent. That's Colress, but they put it as you can only use it, the last card in your hand.
Yeah, I would love Colress to come back as an actual card somehow. I was thinking Colress coming back would be nice. Like, they have Boss's orders and it's Boss. Maybe they could have, like, Boss's assistant and it's, like, Colress, Mars, etc.
Yeah, they could. They could. That'd be nice. And the next card, we'd look at Candace. Look at the top 7 cards of your deck. You may reveal any number of water Pokemon and water energy you find there and put them into your hand. That's pretty okay.
That's really good for water decks. It's also good for anything that uses water energy and or water Pokemon. That's not a water deck.
And then we can look at Capturing Aroma. Flip a coin if heads. Search your deck for an evolution Pokemon, reveal it, and put it into your hand. If tails, search your deck for a basic Pokemon, reveal it, and put it in your hand. Then shuffle your deck. So, it's a win-win. You're getting an evolution if it's heads, a basic if it's tails, you're getting something.
Yeah, it's like Evolution, Incense, and Nest Ball?
Yeah, but Nest Ball puts it on the bench. And we can talk about Earthen Seal Stone. It's a tool. For a V-Star power, the Pokemon V this card is attached to can use the V-Star power on this card. For a triple colorless Star Gravity, put damage counters on each of your opponent's Pokemon V until its remaining HP is 100. That's really good.
That should be paired with Noivern.
You can only attach it. You can only attach it to Pokemon V.
No, the Pokemon that's like if it's 100 HP or less, it's knocked out.
Oh, yeah.
I don't remember which one it is right now. We've talked about so many Pokemon. I'll put it up when I edit all this.
And then Emergency Jelly. At the end of each turn, if the Pokemon this card is attached to has 30 HP remaining or less, and has any damage countered on it, heal 120 from it. If you healed any damage this way, or discard this card. A pretty last-ditch effort heal.
I want to see it play at the same time. It's like, I'm not sure if it would be.
Probably not. we can talk about the card that's currently banned because it doesn't work right in Pokemon Trading Card Game Live. Force Steel
Dang.
Stone. It's you attach it to a Pokemon V and they can use it. During your turn, you may search your deck for a card and put it into your hand. Then shuffle your deck. It's a V-Star power, it's an ability. You put that in first turn and you're good. Lamp. Search your deck for up to 3 Dragon Pokemon, reveal them, and put them into your hand. Really good with Reggie Drago and Duraludon and stuff like that.
That's gonna be really good.
Leaf Camo Poncho. When your opponent plays a supporter card from your hand, prevent all effects of that card done to the Pokemon V Star or V Max discard attached to it. Really good and expanded to kill off disruption.
I thought of maybe 1 or 2 in Zoroark, but I'll have to try it out.
Primordial Altar. It's a stadium. Once during each player's turn, that player may look at the top card of their deck. They may discard that card. That's really good.
Especially if you have a card that's like, hey, I need this in my discard for whatever reason. Discard it, and now it's in your discard. It's active. So, like, for me, it would be the Gengar I play. I can immediately put it on the bench. It could be for the the number of other cards.
The next card is Professor Laventon. Put up to 3 Pokemon that have Hasui in their name from your discard into your hand.
I want to try that out just to see it, if it helps my deck go faster. Quadstone is interesting.
Yeah, I was looking at it. It's okay.
Was it Puzzle Time? That's one of them? Or you have to have all of them to do it?
Yeah. The 4-leaf clover. The Lucky Clover, whatever it's called.
That one too.
You may use 4 Quad Stone cards at once. One mode is if you used 1 card, heal 10 damage from your active. Okay. If you used 4, heal all damage from each of your Pokemon.
It could be a huge game changer, but having all 4, too many things to get stuff out of your hand.
That's essentially the set.
Yeah, not including alt arts, full arts. We have the trainer gallery, but those are just reprints from other things.
Like I think that some of the trainer gallery arts are really good.
They are.
We can talk about the Lance full art. It's really cool. Like look at that. That's just a really cool card.
Mm-hmm.
And then we can look at Unowned V's full art or special secret rare. I think that looks really cool.
I want them both.
It's like the Ruin of Alps, or something like that. No, this would probably be Alola or something like that.
Might be.
But the Reggie Drago alternate art, that looks really, really good.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know about you, but that just might, from what the cards that we're looking at, other than the Lugia, because here's the $300 Lugia that you sold.
Yeah, I pulled that. It was so nice.
And I am showing this on screen, so it is less for you to edit later. We can look at... Yeah, here's some of the character rares. They look really good. Do a close-up
I
of
will
all.
say I love that art of Judge. I know they've reprinted Judge a number of times, but like for alternate arts, that one's my favorite.
Oh, word. Oh, yes.
It just looks so clean.
That definitely looks really clean. My favorite character rare... I'm having to decide right now. I might actually have to go with Rayquaza VMAX. With Zinnia. I really like it.
It is basically Rayquaza GX again, but it's so nice, the art.
Corviknight is also a good one. I think it looks really cool.
Yeah, look at that.
What I don't like is how they did Blaziken VMAX instead of Blaziken Mega. Cause that just deserved Mega Blaziken, dude. that just deserves it to be a Mega Blaziken. But I guess I want to get rid of Megas.
Yeah, I feel they're straying away from that era.
And then you have cards like Rayquaza VMAX and Duraludon VMAX getting gold cards.
Mm-hmm. They're actually kind of nice.
They're okay in my opinion.
I bet they're really cheap. I remember the V cards came out for the gold, and everyone's like, they're gonna be expensive, and they're like $5 or less.
So, what cards are you most excited for seeing like in the game, in the meta?
They're standard. There's a couple of them in here. I want to try an unknown deck, but honestly, like the energies, I want to try that in Zoroark. I might try Professor Laventon. There's a couple other cards I want to try one or two of, just because I want to change the deck flow too much, but I want to boost it.
I see you. I see you. I might want to try Regieleki.
That could be a fun deck. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, just get the Regieleki VMAX and just go with it. I think that could be a really... There's potential there.
Yeah.
And now, like, talking about meta, Lugia V Star is, like, the #1, like, hot... This could be really good meta card.
Oh, yeah. Because you can put any energy on there.
Mm-hmm. And we're already seeing kind of the implications of Lugia in the meta already. Let me look at limitlesstcg.com real quick.
Yeah, let's see what the meta is being played right now.
So, from one of the latest events online, there was a event that had 7 rounds, it seemed. The person who won it was playing Arceus Duraludon. Then,
Ooh.
so from first place to 17th place, there was Arceus Duraludon, Regigigas, Mew, Lugia Archeops, Giratina, some sort of Yveltal box, weird thing, Mew, Regieleki, Vikavolt, with Vikavolt V with Regieleki and Venusaur. Vikavolt and Regieleki and Tapu Koko V and Raikou V, not Venusaur. Interesting.
Yeah, those are definitely interesting decks that
And
are being played.
then Regieleki, Vikavolt again, Lugia Archeops, Rapid Strike Urshifu, Rotom, Gengar, 2 Regigigas, Lugia Archeops, and then Lost Zone box. So, it seems that Lugia is already starting to take effect on the meta, and take effect on the meta in like a big way. I think it's going to be a really good deck, as well as Regieleki. So
Yeah.
It seems like they're finding their place in the meta just right.
This set definitely is boosting a number of older cards from the older sets.
So, do you think Eternatus could do well in this meta, or no?
Honestly, I'd have to rebuild Eternatus and see. Because what I worry about is the ability being shut off, not by path, but by like putting non-dark types into the deck.
I'm actually kind of a little bit excited about Serperior, a little bit, just because it's the grass type, but other than that, not really. I'm really kind of wanting to try the implications with Venusaur VMAX and see just what it might be able to do in this meta. And Reggie Drago with Hisui and Lilligant, that might be something interesting to try.
Indeed. There's a lot of things that we can make here.
just based upon like the meta alone, and how everything's going to go. I think it's going to be a really healthy and comfortable meta coming in, especially with rotation right around the corner.
Yeah.
Because rotation's happening early 2023.
Mm-hmm. Those of you with decks need to get prepared.
We don't know when exactly that it's going to happen, but we know that it's going to be early 2023. But probably after the next set, in February, or
Yeah, Zenith Crown or Crown Zenith, however you say it.
Yeah.
I pre-ordered the ETB and it said it was coming out in January. Well, another post I saw said it was coming out in March. So I'm like, what is it actually coming out?
Mm-hmm. So probably after Crown Zenith comes out is when we should expect rotation.
That'd probably be April or May, I would assume. Or maybe sooner.
Maybe sooner than that. Anyways, guys, this has been a full look at the Silver Tempest set. Well, not really a full look, but like a kind of close together look at Silver Tempest and what we can expect with the card, what we could think about with the card being in the meta, and some sort of couple decks that have kind of shown up that we can expect to see more of. And there are some good cards in this set. For example, Reggie Lugia, stuff like that. And some fun rogue cards like Unknown. That could be a good rogue card. But
I might try Unknown and Expanded.
I think that's all that we have to say about Silver Tempest, right, Andrew?
Yeah, this is a pretty good set. A lot of fun cards. A lot of weird cards too, but it's balanced.
A lot of nice arts for sure.
Oh yeah, I want a lot of these cards just for the art, but I'm like, no, I'm trying to reduce my collection.
So, I think that's all that we have to say about Silver Tempest. Join us next Wednesday as we talk about Pokemon cards in Expanded, when they came out, and could they possibly do well in the meta today? Should be a good talk. Anyways.
Oh yeah.
This has been the Team Galactic podcast, creating not just a better world for you, but also your Pokemon. I've been Justin.
And I've been Andrew.
See you later.
Goodbye, everyone.